These name tags are cute, so let's make one together. Now, I got this design off of Etsy. I honestly will say I don't remember who I got it off of. I know I can check in my purchase history, but I never did. Let me know if you want. Send me a direct message or DM, and I'll let you know. I'm using my magnetic hoop for this. I love that you can use 5x5 pieces for these little projects, so that's exactly what I'm doing. I did use basting spray on the back. I'm sorry, on the front, and this is what the back looks like. As you can see there, I made a mistake on one side because I needed to um, to rearrange the stitching. So that's what happened there. And then also I am using foam for this. I will link that here as well because I got it off of a TikTok shop. Anyways, once you have this sandwich put together, yes, it is a sandwich. The first stitch was more a placement stitch, which tells you where to put the fabric, and then the next stitch the thing underneath is just basically to hold that down. The machine does most of it. So we have the placement stitch, and then this is the tack down stitch, which holds the sandwich together. I like to think of embroidery projects like this as sandwich projects because it's basically putting everything together using multiple stitches. In some cases, thousands and thousands of stitches, but it's fun anyway, so let's keep doing this. As you can see, I didn't need to use a full stabilizer, so I used my cutaway stabilizer. I'm sorry, my tearaway stabilizer. I doubled it up. I should have shown you how I did that here, but this is what it looks like. Once it does a tack down stitch, you're going to take this off. Now again, because everything happens, I made a mistake here. I'm just cutting out these pieces here first to kind of get the edges through, but I will show you where I made the mistake. I'm sure you haven't noticed it yet, but it will happen because as I was recording this video, or as I was watching this video to do the video voiceover, I was like, oh, I did make a mistake. I wasn't sure if I did, but I realized I did. So once I was done recording it, I will tell you exactly how I fixed it. It had to do with the placement. So when I redid the placements for this design, I forgot to make an adjustment, which obviously meant that I had to go back and correct this. And I think it's a good lesson learned. The reason I say that is because you can also do the same thing. A lot of people forget that as you sew, we all make mistakes. So that's why I've renamed my YouTube channel The Imperfect Sewist, because hey, we all make mistakes. So putting that back there. Now, this is where I made the mistake. I forgot to put the backing on there, okay? As in the backing fabric. So I still have the foam showing through. No problem. So this is the main embroidery satin stitch that's going around here. And then I was like, shoot, I didn't do that. Okay, no problem. So if you're someone who makes this kind of mistake, or if you make a mistake like this in the future, please don't panic. You can still fix this. What I decided to do was I went back, to the stitch that was used for the tack down stitch. I went back to the tack down stitch location, which basically meant taking out going back a few threads. If you understand how the single needle sewing machine works, you can adjust by removing, like going back a few threads, going back a few stitches, 10 stitches, 1 stitch, or 100 stitch. And this is where I came back here and put this on down. So I'm going to use some basting spray just to hold things there and make sure that everything goes over it. And then I'm going to go ahead and redo the tack down stitch. This should have been done before my satin stitch went on top, but hey, mistakes happen. It happens. We're gonna get through it. And that was basically it. So that went through. And then the other thing I will say is, if you don't want the name to show through, when you do your tack down stitch, the next stitch that should come after it should be your the name, which I did not do in this case. I just wanted to see what the name will look like on the other end. That was entirely intentional, so that part was not a mistake. That's why you see the name on the back end there. But in any case, so now it's doing the name. So if you did not want the name here after the initial tack down stitch, let's assume there were no mistakes made. So you have your placement stitch, you put your sandwich together, and then after the tack down stitch, you're going to put the name as the next stitch to do when you're arranging this on Embroidery or whatever software you're using. And then your satin stitch will be the final sandwich where you put the piece of fabric there, and then when it puts it all together, the only thing you'll be able to see on the other end is a satin stitch. On the back end is a satin stitch. So here, ordinarily, you will be seeing the satin stitch, but as you can see there, you're seeing the tack down stitch. All right, so taking out the excess foam. This is actually somewhat fun to do. I am just cutting it to create a fault line. Hopefully that makes sense, or it's not too scientific. I'm creating a fault line so that it's easier for me to get rid of the foam, and then I'm going to take down and take out any other threads, and then just like I said, I use cutaway stabilizer. I doubled it up and just taking out that, and then I'm going to cut the piece here. So again, if I had remembered to put that sandwich in there, it would have made life a lot easier. But hey, we live and we learn, so no faults there. Once that's done, you can take off the excess pieces. You can use a lighter like you see me doing here just to get rid of any frays on the ends. It's not necessary. And to be honest with you, the only reason I did this is because I see people do it on TikTok. Okay, so hey, I got influenced by that. And then I'm going to put in my hole. I'm using a hole punch here. I know there's an easier tool to use, but I already have this at home and I don't want to buy something new. So I decided, hey, I'm going to use it. And there you have it, all done.